Good evening. Yeah, it looks a little different right now. That's because I am on my old Twitch setup. In case you don't know, I used to stream on Twitch for many years. In fact, I was a Twitch partner, but that's a story for another time. I am on this setup right now because my room is a mess. I am packing right now to go to the Netherlands tomorrow, and I just couldn't wait to make this video. I'm super excited about that. What we're talking about today is examples of content that you can do for social media, more than just the typical asking for wish lists or asking people to buy your game. So let's get into it. I just want to let you know, I don't have a script for this video. I just have a general idea of what I want to talk about. So yeah, hope that's okay. The inspiration for this video was a consultation that I had with Black Tabby Games. Abby and Tony are making this game called Scarlet Hollow, which is like a visual novel horror story, but has humor elements. It's kind of cute. And I just want to let you know that Abby was a cartoonist and illustrator before she made this game, and she already had an audience. But she has a very signature style that helps sell the game. So I'm looking at what the audience is talking about when they talk about Scarlet Hollow. And the two things I've noticed that people talk about the most, I wouldn't say the most, but a lot of the time, is Dustin the possum and Gretchen the pug. They just stand out. And so basically when I'm thinking about making content for a social media page for a game, I just want to give the audience what they already like. So I'm paying attention to the things that they like the most. So let's get into the kind of content that I recommended that they should do. Oh, before we quite get into that, I wanted to show their Twitter page in case you wanted to follow more Scarlet Hollow. I think you should. First up, what every developer should do, make clips of your game, or GIFs, whatever you want to call them. It only takes a few seconds. Now, some developers, they want to overthink making content for their social media. But again, it's only a few seconds, so it doesn't take that long. You're showcasing the art, you're showcasing the dialogue, and again, what I'm talking about right now is fitting their specific game, their genre, visual novel, horror, cute, all of that. That is what their audience is expecting. The good news is that if you're making a whole game, you have so many clips that you can make, right? Now, I wouldn't have a whole Twitter page of this, but I think this is a really powerful form of content that every developer should do. Now, this one in particular has a call to action to Game Press, but you don't have to do a call to action for wish lists or buying or Game Press or content creators. You can just post the clips, and that's just fine. And you'll see, like, out of all the clips that you post, which ones people like the most. Next up, I want to showcase the 4-panel screenshots. I don't know if this is the official name, but this is what I call it. So all you have to do is take 4 screenshots of your game. For this example, they just have name of the game and then just like a little bit of blurb. And notice how they don't have hashtags, and yet it still gets pretty good engagement. So that's just something to keep in mind. Also, these 4 screenshots are all very different from each other. Now, I chose this one because it's a little bit different than the last 4-panel screenshots. No, it's not a game, but it's still showcasing something that you can do as well. So what I like about this is that it doesn't have anything but an emoji to showcase that it still gets engagement, even if you're not explaining exactly what is going on. In fact, I would encourage this because you should show, not tell, correct? And this is a good way of doing storytelling through 4 panels. And so you can do this with your game, 4 panels that do something similar to each other, but it's leading people somewhere, or 4 panels that are doing something completely different. Also, I chose these 2 examples because one is for a horror game, and the other one is very cute. So the fact that this works for different genres. I think every game should do clips, and every game should have 4 panels. Next up, so this is specifically for Scarlet Hollow because again, Abby is an illustrator and she does a lot of art. That is her strength. So this is something that she can do. So she has a lot of characters like any other visual novel. And so I thought it was a good idea if she could take just one of her characters and have the characters in 4 different costumes, especially for Halloween. So here's another example that's very specific to Scarlet Hollow. I mentioned earlier that they have a pug in the game called Gretchen. Now, this was a very popular TikTok meme that just went off, right? And it just happens to feature an old pug. And a lot of people who like pugs have probably seen this. So if you put this, you know, with their game, with Gretchen, I think it'll work, right? I think their audience is gonna get it. So here's another kind of content that they can make with Gretchen. We've all seen this meme before. And again, she's an illustrator, so I don't think it'd be that hard for her to incorporate Gretchen into this. This one here, if it was me, I would take these words and then I would add Dustin to them. I mean, I wouldn't have it like a real image like this. I would have it as an illustration, but still keep the words. So as I am going through social media, I'm looking at content, I'm always seeing how can I apply whatever game that I'm trying to promote right now, how can I apply this to the image that I'm looking at right now? So I just write down a bunch of ideas that I can do and I just put it out there. Now, do they need to do these ideas? No, they don't. I'm just giving them examples to stir up their imagination of the things that they could do if they wanted to. And I just want to say this too. If it doesn't do well, then you can always delete the post. There's no harm here. And one post is just a post, right? You could do another post in a few hours. You can do another post the next day. You can do whatever you want. So here's another one that I thought would work really well with Dustin. And for this one, I wouldn't make it an illustration. For this one, I would keep the finger, like a real finger, but then just like superimpose an illustration of Dustin on this tiny little dude right here. All right, my next idea. So she can make a starter pack for the characters in Scarlet Hollow. I thought this was a cute idea. Here's another kind of a more, the last one was more realistic here of things, so this can work in different styles for your game too. If your game has a specific like area that it's talking about. Here's another kind of starter pack that you can do, an illustration. I just want to say that this does work for different games, for different genres, depending on what it is that you're trying to do. You just play around, just experiment. That's what makes social media great. All right, the next kind of content you can make is something like, I don't know if you remember this trend, but this was all over the internet where artists were talking about themselves as characters. So they showcase what was in their bag, their likes, their dislikes, little facts about themselves. And I thought that this would be a great idea also to showcase different characters, more insight to what it is that they are. And I just wanted to show two different examples, the fact that it can be different art styles. This could be 3D, why not? This is also a good example, I thought. Here we have a description of what the character is, and they made it into an announcement of who the voice actor was. And they're putting a clip in here. So I just think this kind of content is just really good because you're showcasing a lot all together. This makes really good sense for the fact that Abby is an illustrator of taking one of the characters, it could be an animal character, it could be a human character, and just having it in different poses. If you have any concept art lying around that you haven't posted yet, maybe you should post that and see if people like it or not. Another kind of content you can do is anatomy, but I don't mean like real anatomy. I mean like pet zone, rub zone, tippy taps, you know, just make it fun, make it engaging, because what we're trying to do here is to make different kinds of content that your audience is gonna like, that fits into what kind of vibe that you're trying to show off with your game. And that you're trying to get a variety here besides just asking people to buy your game. Like, you're just thinking in your head, what else can I do? How can I make this interesting? And people that are really good at social media are not just showcasing the game itself, but also having a little bit of fun with what it is that they're trying to do. Because that's what we want to follow, is we want to follow someone who's fun, someone who has a personality, and not someone who is just super serious all the time, just robotic, trying to just sell you a product, right? This is a clip, but it's not just a normal clip of you posting your game. It's also with a content creator. I think that this is really powerful that a lot of developers don't even think about. But I will say this, that before you post clips of content creators playing your game, please ask their permission, because it only has good benefits. One, like, you get exposure, they get exposure. So the content creator, for me, has never said no to this. Another good thing about this is the fact that you're establishing a relationship with them. So if they play your game and they like the game and you're saying, hey, I'm the developer, thank you so much for playing the game, can I use your clip? You're kind of like having this back and forth with them. What's good about this is next game that you have, you can say, hey, remember me? I'm the developer of this other game you played. Would you play my new game? So again, it's just benefits going both ways. All right, so now I'm also going to post the post. I'm going to show you the clip here, and I'm going to tell you why afterwards.
Oh, great. Oh! Gretchen, come back. Quit bothering strangers. Cute.
So the reason why I wanted to show you that was to showcase kind of what I was talking about earlier, is that you should be paying attention to when people are playing your games, what are they most excited about or what they are not excited about, right? What are the ups, what are the downs, or what are the places that people are just like going through the game, not really thinking about things, right? Always pay attention to people's reactions. And also, I think that clip is perfect. That's something I would definitely showcase. And I think Gabby does know the developers, so I'm sure if they asked, like, she wouldn't mind. So another kind of content that you can post is behind the scenes, right? So this is good for game developers, but also the way that Torple Duke has posted it here, it's a little bit humorous, it's a little bit entertaining. And so this is like another kind of storytelling, like what I was talking about earlier, but this time the storytelling is like you as a developer and how you're thinking about making games. So I went to college for 3D animation, graphic design, and video editing and game design. I took a video of me doing the hand gesture, then selected like 5 frames for the animation. I didn't have a green screen, so I used 2 slightly different colored purple towels instead. So one, it's showcasing he has experience. But also the fact that he's making this quick and dirty, right? So it's funny, it's interesting, not just showing behind the scenes, but seeing it in a funny, more interesting way. He's not saying like, oh, look at me, I'm like an amazing technical developer. He's saying that you can do games in many different ways. All right, so my next kind of content that you can make is polls. So there is limits to what you can do with polls, and yeah, I would use polls sparingly. You only have 4 answers that you can use. And also, all of these answers have very little character limits in them. So you can't have like really in-depth polls, but something that's already built into Twitter, so why not use it? So for me also, this is just for fun. And I wouldn't just use this for data or statistics. I do it because it makes people want to interact with the Twitter account more. Ask questions. So if you are an insider, you've already played this game, you already know what this is talking about right here. You already probably played this mechanic. And this works because they're not just asking the question, but they're also having a GIF here. But I would do questions usually that didn't have GIFs. Like I would just like rely on the question being interesting enough that people want to answer it. You can't have it too vague or general. It has to be just specific enough that people who are your audience that know your game, or maybe play games within your genre, that you're asking questions like, which one of these characters would you take out for ice cream? What kind of video game here you think would make the best movie adaptation? Those are terrible questions. I'm so sorry. I hope you come up with something better than me. But yeah, asking your audience questions I think can be really powerful. All right. So this is the last example I have for you today. Basically just showcase updates. I like this tweet a lot. I think it's formatted really well. So first of all, they are excited, they have exclamation points, they have a nice emoji here. One thing I like to do as well is I like to have bullet points. I like to have emojis and then bullet points because you want to be clear and concise and tell people like what it is you're doing. Now, is this all the updates that the game probably have? No, but they wanted to showcase the things that probably the audience wanted the most or thought was most interesting. Also, I want to say that having a variety of graphics is really important. You don't want people to come to your Twitter page and just see the same graphics over and over and over again, or the same clips over and over again. That's why you should experiment, you should try different things, because when people are coming to your page, that's kind of like a first impression of what it is that they're seeing. So you want to give them a good first impression by showing some kind of variety. All right, so that is just some examples I have for you today. Again, those kind of examples worked sometimes generally for a lot of developers, things like polls and updates, asking questions, but some of the examples fit specifically for Abby, Tony, and the game Scarlet Hollow. Always focusing on, again, what the audience is liking, what they are engaging with, what they are talking about. And I'm also thinking about how the developers, like what their strengths are, what do they like to showcase about the game, what's interesting to them. I just want to point out to you that there is just so much different kinds of content that you can do outside of the normal. So I hope this was useful to you. Let me know in the comments below, and I'll see you in the next video.